When you sit down for a beautiful meal at a fine dining restaurant, what do you imagine is happening in the kitchen? You probably picture a calm, orderly world of professionals in tall white hats, working with quiet, focused intensity, like surgeons. What if I told you that, in reality, you are probably just a few feet away from a hot, chaotic, and profanity-laced pirate ship, crewed by a band of misfits, degenerates, mercenaries, and culinary geniuses? What if I told you that, in reality, you are probably just a few feet away from a hot, chaotic, and profanity-laced pirate ship, crewed by a band of misfits, degenerates, mercenaries, and culinary geniuses? What if I told you that, in reality, you are probably just a few feet away from a hot, chaotic, and profanity-laced pirate ship, crewed by a band of misfits, degenerates, mercenaries, and culinary geniuses? In his legendary world-changing book, Kitchen Confidential: Adventures in the Culinary Underbelly, the late, great Anthony Bourdain ripped the curtain back on the restaurant world and revealed the brutal, beautiful, and often shocking truth of what happens behind those swinging doors. In his legendary, world-changing book, Kitchen Confidential: Adventures in the Culinary Underbelly, the late, great Anthony Bourdain ripped the curtain back on the restaurant world and revealed the brutal, beautiful, and often shocking truth of what happens behind those swinging doors. But this book is more than just a shocking exposé. It is a deep, romantic, and profoundly philosophical look at the nature of craft, the search for meaning in hard physical work, and the strange and wonderful code of honor that exists in the culinary underworld. This is a journey into the heart of the professional kitchen, a last true meritocracy, and the story of the man who became its most eloquent and honest philosopher. The first taste, a love affair, is born to understand the man. You first have to understand the moment that changed his life. Before he was a chef, before he was a writer, before he was a globe-trotting icon, Anthony Bourdain was a 10-year-old boy on a family vacation in France. He was a picky eater, a typical American kid who was suspicious of any food that was unfamiliar. And then, on a fishing boat, a fisherman pulled an oyster from the sea, opened it, and offered it to him. His parents were hesitant, but the fisherman insisted. And in that moment, Bourdain made a choice. He chose adventure over fear. He swallowed the oyster. He described the experience as a revelation. The taste of the sea, the brine, the iodine, the sheer shocking primal flavor of it was like a lightning bolt. It was the taste of the ocean, of another country, of an adult world. That single oyster, he writes, is where his journey truly began. It was the moment he fell in love with food, not just as sustenance, but as an adventure. That adventure would eventually lead him, after a directionless and debauched few years in college, to the Culinary Institute of America, and then into the trenches of the professional kitchens of New York City in the 1970s and 80s. This was not the glamorous celebrity chef world we see on television today. It was a brutal, low-paying, and physically demanding world, and it was here that Bourdain received his real education. The pirate ship and its motley crew. The central philosophical insight of Kitchen Confidential is its portrait of the professional kitchen as a unique and fascinating subculture. Bourdain describes the kitchen not as a normal workplace but as a pirate ship. It is a refuge, a last frontier for people who cannot or will not survive in the polite 9-to-5 corporate world. The kitchen crew, he writes, is a motley collection of misfits, ex-convicts, recent immigrants, culinary school dropouts, and obsessive artistic maniacs. It is a world of outcasts, a place where your past doesn't matter, your college degree doesn't matter, the color of your skin doesn't matter. The only things that matter are, can you do the work? Can you stand the heat? Are you fast? Are you reliable? Can you show up on time day after day and perform under immense pressure? The professional kitchen, in Bourdain's telling, is a pure and brutal meritocracy. It has a rigid military-style hierarchy. At the top is the chef. Below him are the sous chefs, and then the line cooks, each responsible for their specific station: the grill, the sauté, the fryer. And at the very bottom of this pyramid, the person Bourdain says is the most important and most respected person on the entire crew is the dishwasher. Because, as he says, if the dishwasher goes down, the entire ship sinks. Life on this pirate ship is a blur of heat, of noise, of fire, and of constant, relentless pressure. A dinner service is a nightly battle. The tickets come flooding in, the waiters are screaming, the pans are flying. It is a world of controlled chaos. And in the crucible of this nightly battle, a powerful and unique bond is forged. The kitchen crew becomes a dysfunctional but fiercely loyal family. They are a tribe, a band of brothers and sisters who have been through the fire together. This intense, almost military-style camaraderie is what holds the chaotic world of the kitchen together. A culinary education, the unspoken rules and dirty secrets. Kitchen Confidential became a global phenomenon because it was the first time anyone had told the general public the unvarnished and often unappetizing truth about what really goes on behind the scenes. Bourdain became a kind of culinary whistleblower, sharing the dirty secrets and the hard-won wisdom of the professional cook. This is where the book gives us its most famous and practical, if sometimes shocking, advice. He gives us a list of rules for how to eat smart when you go out. The most legendary of these rules, of course, is never ever order fish on a Monday. Why? Because most restaurants, he explains, order their fresh fish for the busy weekend, on a Thursday or a Friday. By the time Monday rolls around, the kitchen is trying to get rid of the weekend's leftovers. You are almost certainly not getting the freshest product. Another famous warning is to be very, very wary of brunch. Brunch, he says, is often a dumping ground for the week's leftovers, a way for the restaurant to turn its almost expired food into a profitable meal, often disguised with a heavy hollandaise sauce. He warns us about the dangers of the well-done steak. If you order your steak well done, the chef will see you as a person with no taste. And that means you will likely be given the oldest, toughest, and least desirable cut of meat, the piece that the kitchen has been trying to get rid of. He tells us the truth about butter on the table. It's often not fresh. It's the recycled butter from other tables, scraped together and remolded. And that free bread basket? The bread you don't eat is often just put back and served to the next table. These revelations are not just gossip. They are a look into the brutal economic reality of the restaurant business. It is a business of incredibly thin profit margins, and every little corner that can be cut often will be. His advice is a gift to the dining public, a set of insider rules that allows you to navigate this world with more wisdom. While Bourdain clearly loves the world of the kitchen, he is also brutally honest about its dark side. Kitchen Confidential is an unflinching look at the immense human cost of this high-pressure, high-adrenaline lifestyle. He describes a world of almost unimaginable physical hardship. The long hours, 12, 14, 16 hours a day, standing on your feet in a 100-degree kitchen, the constant risk of burns, of cuts, of slips and falls. He writes about the toll this takes on the body, the bad backs, the ruined knees, the permanent scars. But the physical toll is often less than the psychological and emotional one. The kitchen life is a life of immense stress. It is a culture that runs on adrenaline, on caffeine, on nicotine, and, for many years, on a shocking amount of hard drugs. Bourdain is brutally honest about his own past and the pervasive culture of drug and alcohol abuse that fueled the industry for decades. The kitchen, he writes, was a haven for addicts and alcoholics, a place where their chaotic lifestyles were not just tolerated but often seen as a normal part of the job. It was a world that could chew people up and spit them out, a lifestyle that was almost impossible to maintain if you wanted to have a healthy relationship, a family, or any semblance of a normal life outside the restaurant. This is the cautionary tale at the heart of the book. It is a story that does not romanticize the live fast, die young ethos of the rock and roll chef. It shows the real human consequences of a life lived at that level of intensity. It is a portrait of a beautiful but deeply broken world. So what is the point of it all? If the life is so hard, the pay is so low, and the environment is so brutal, why do they do it? The final and most philosophical part of the book is Bourdain's attempt to answer that question. And his answer reveals a deep and surprisingly noble code of honor. Beneath all the chaos, the profanity, and the cynicism, Bourdain reveals a profound and almost spiritual respect for the craft of cooking. It is a love for good, fresh ingredients. It is a respect for the classic techniques. It is a deep physical pleasure in the act of turning raw materials into something delicious. He argues that a good cook is a craftsman, a kind of blue-collar artist, and there is a deep sense of honor and pride in that work. It is the honor of showing up on time, every time. It is the honor of keeping your station clean and organized, a state he calls mise en place. It is the honor of being able to handle the intense pressure of the Saturday night rush without cracking. It is the honor of being a professional. This philosophy extends to a deep respect for the entire food chain. He writes with reverence about the fishermen, the farmers, and the butchers who provide the raw materials. And as we've seen, he writes with the deepest respect for the often invisible workers at the bottom of the kitchen hierarchy, the dishwashers and the prep cooks, who are the true unsung heroes of the restaurant world. And at the very center of this philosophy is a simple, almost primal, sense of purpose. And that is the joy of feeding people. The ability to take simple ingredients and, through your skill and your labor, to turn them into something that gives another person a moment of pleasure, of comfort, of delight. This, Bourdain argues, is a deeply noble and deeply human act. It is the reason they endure the pain, the heat, and the chaos. The ultimate message of Kitchen Confidential is a story that transcends the world of food. It is a philosophical exploration of what it means to dedicate your life to a difficult and demanding craft. It is a story about the beauty of finding your tribe, your pirate crew, in a messy and imperfect world. And it is a story about how to live by a code of honor, of professionalism, and of integrity in the most unlikely of places. It is a deep inquiry into the nature of a life of passionate and often painful work. If you believe that we can find profound wisdom in the most unexpected corners of the human experience, then you are in the right place. Welcome to Geeky Philosopher. Subscribe, and let's continue to explore the philosophies that give our lives flavor.